Today's video is refurbishing this old door and how we get it from looking like this to looking like this. Hello, so a little project we have. We have this like door, obviously, that has a cat flap, and the owners of this place don't have a cat. And they were like, basically want the door refurbishing to make it look good. It's a lot of flaking paint and nastiness and a random cat flap they don't need. So I'm going to put quite a bit of work just into the door to basically get rid of the cat flap whilst maintaining all the detailed panelling and getting it ready for painting. We're not actually doing the painting though, we're just getting rid of the cat flap and preparing it for painting, as they want to do that later. Let's look at inside and out. So you can see the outside is a bit, well, deteriorated to say the least, and random cat flap that they don't need. So this will be a project for just a few days, just to get it ready for painting. Thanks, bye. It's stage one. Remove the decorative architrave that was around the edges, and that's lost. There's no way to remove that without damaging it. Well, I have managed to salvage this panel on the front like an original feature, which looks a bit raggedy at the minute, but by the time we're finished with it, it will look pretty again. So we'll reuse that to go back on the door once as part of the refurbishment of it. Well, you can see what the issue is. We've got this huge cat flap hole that we need to get rid of. That's not the only issue. I mean, we've got so much like just damage and wear and stuff, like flaking paint, and you know, that's just so much damage to the door. It needs a good bit of loving attention. So the next job is get this middle panel out. I'm going to have to refill this bit, put a new panel in, new decorative architrave stuff, put that thing back on the front again. Then it'll be heavy sanding, prep work, and getting it all ready for painting. And so the old stuff is off that needs to be off. So the next step is going to be heavy sanding. So we're going to heavily sand and scrape all the paintwork, just to get rid of all the loose flaking stuff and make the actual paintwork look pretty before I refit any new panelling and stuff. It's just going to be easier to do that before the new panelling's in rather than after the panelling is in. That'll be on both sides. Got the other side to do as well. So that's where we're at. And then, so next section is the bottom is removed, and we discover we have these nice grooves in the side that we really like, because that means the panel we're going to put in, well, I've already cut it and shaped it. So just a bit of standard timber, but we have shaped a nice matching tongue to go in the groove. Because what this does, it means we can properly stick it in. Because what happens is if you get different pieces of wood together that are not really connected together, you get cracks in the paintwork where the two join. So if we can get these tongues straight into this groove, it almost makes it like one piece of wood. It means that the wood's not going to sort of expand and contract at different rates. It's all going to be sort of one piece, if you know what I mean. So it just means the paintwork lasts longer and doesn't crack, you know. So it's just a much better, and it's stronger as well, of course. It's just a much better finish to do a nice tongue and groove design like that. So that's where we're at. So next step is getting it in. I haven't actually put it in yet, so I'm hoping it fits. If not, it'll be a bit of chiseling, if not, to trim it down a bit more maybe. Okay, I have this bottom section on. Obviously there's a lot of filling and caulking and stuff needed. It doesn't look pretty at this stage, but it will look pretty by the time we're finished. So yeah, that's on, sanded. Obviously got a sand, or got a heavy sand it actually, so all panels are actually the same. So it feels flat between all the panels, you know, round the ends off, so that there's an even roundness between the door and the edge of that. So we're actually at the stage now I'm about to start putting this middle panel back in. So I've cut just a piece of 18mm plywood, which is all part of my plan, because I'm going to put sort of trim either side of it, so I've got exactly the right size plywood and exactly the right size trim for the thickness of the door. Anyway, so at the minute I'm just going to turn it around and I'm going to rest it against these pins that I've put in at exactly the right spot. That goes all the way around, so I'm going to drop the panel in onto them, and then I can start actually fitting it in place. So them pins are just to hold it in position while I actually do everything I need to do to it. So that'll be the next step. Right then, so we have a very ugly looking door. It is at the ugly stage, but it is a working door, which is quite important when you have a house that has an entrance door with a big hole in it where there's no panel. People are generally not very happy with that kind of thing. So an ugly looking panel is better than no panel. Anyway, this is going to look a lot prettier by the time I've finished, obviously. This stuff here is all just to seal it up. We will be fitting sort of trims and architraves and stuff, so you won't see any of this by the time it's finished. It will be quite a pretty, it'll look very similar to how it was before we even started. This stage was really sort of getting it ready for making it look pretty. Everything looks ugly before we get it to look pretty. Pretty much standard on every job, really. Anyway, there we go. So that's the stage we're at. Right then, so the next step, we're fitting this, well, it's architrave really, around the inside of the panel to hide all that nastiness you saw in the last video. And then it'll be another bit of trim.
So the next stage is done.
Between the frame and
fitting this trim around the edge of the architrave. That just hides from this gap that goes all the way around. Just finishes it off. Very similar to what was originally there, which is what we were aiming for. We are aiming to try and recreate, or at least get close to what it originally looked like. So when it's finished, it will look like the original door still. Doesn't look pretty right now. I always use that word pretty, don't I? But it doesn't look pretty right now, but once it's fully prepped and fully painted, it will look awesome. And there's loads of little gaps and stuff that you can see, and this will all be caulked and filled and made to look pretty before it's... Well, actually, we're not even doing the painting, which is a bit disappointing. I'd like to see what it look. I'd like to have done the painting to get the final video of it looking pretty once it's fully painted, but we're only doing the building and the preparation work, and the painting is going to be done later by, I don't know if we'll come back, if they'll ask us to come back and do it, or if they'll do it themselves or whatever, I don't know. Might even do it themselves, I think, because they're asking us to do all the prep work, so it is just painting left. So the door has now officially been rebuilt. Nice trim all the way around the panel. All looking a lot nicer now than it was yesterday, with all the visible pins. The unfortunate thing is we're not down to paint it. I really want to paint it, because then we can really see how nice it looks once it's painted. We are down to do a lot more prep on the door though. That was my bit, doing the rebuilding, and I've got Keo doing the rest of it. You can see there's loads more prep needed on the door. There's flaking paint and rotten bits everywhere, so that'll be somebody else doing that tomorrow, but I'll still get some videos tomorrow of it as well. So inside, well, the panelling's done. We're still not quite finished with the prep. There's still a bit of prep to do, but we're going to do that later on once we can actually paint the door. The reason we're not painting now is the glass is going to get changed, and the client has got someone, a specialist, coming in with stained glass, like some real nice glass to go in. So obviously we need to paint it after the stained glass has gone in, so that's why we're not painting it now. But that's not going to be until, that's going to be months away yet, so it's going to stay like this for quite some time. So because it's going to stay like that quite some time, on the outer side I have put a coat of shellac primer just over the bare wood areas. This is really just to weatherproof it in the meantime, just so rain and condensation and whatnot doesn't get into the wood and sort of ruin the work that we've done between now and when it gets painted. So just one coat of proper shellac primer. It dries really quick and it's quite good for the weatherproofing side of it. I think it looks quite nice now. Now it's got a coat of paint on it. Much better than what was there before anyway. Anyway, hopefully I'll get another video in spring once we've finished painting it and show you what it looks like once it's fully finished.